I want to show you how to use curve line drawing so that you can create shapes that have a curved line or a series of curved lines so that your straight lines for one place and your curved lines are for whatever else you're drawing that's a little more curvy or complicated. This is a picture of what I want you to finish with. This is what's called desert storm. There's a rain cloud. There's a lightning bolt coming out of the rain cloud. There's rain coming down out of the sky. The lightning bolt is causing a sort of a flash going on at the tip of the lightning, and it's radiating out in the dark blue evening or night sky. And then this tan sand down here is finishing off the simple poster of this desert storm. Now, to draw this cloud, I've given you another page. It's called Desert Storm Build. And what I've done is taken the cloud and the lightning bolt and made them into guidelines. And so you have something you can trace from, so you're a little more confident you can get that to work. The first thing let's build is the cloud. Now, you're going to draw with a black fill and no stroke. You take your pen tool, and you can start anywhere you want on this cloud. Now, the cloud happens to have not circular billows to it. They're the billows that come with the drawing curve of the computer. It's called a sine curve, so it's not a real circle. It's more of a cone, but it's easy to draw this to start with. What I want you to do is to draw with a curved line. You do it this way. I'm going to start anywhere in one of these little valleys on this cloud. You click and release, and then you come over to the next valley, click and hold the mouse key down, and then pull it until it matches the dotted line. Now, these handles that I've got a hold of here, if I pull down they go up, if I pull up they go down. So it's a new way of learning to draw. But you see, they're not actually half circles. They're more of a cone shaped, and that's what's called a sine curve. And so when you get the line there the way you want it, and it matches the dotted line on the artboard, then let go of the handle, and you've got your first line. You have to click and release in the last anchor point. It's like drawing with a series of strings, and you have to keep tying the next string to the last string so that it will continue. Now, once you've clicked and released, come over here to this next little valley and click and hold, and then pull it out so it matches the cloud outline that I've made for you in this guideline, and then release that. And then continue around, click and release, and then go over here and click and hold and pull it out to match. And let go, and you've got the next step done. Now click on the last anchor point, not these handles that are round, but the square little anchor point here. So click and release, and then you come here to the next valley and click and you pull it. And this is virtually what's used to draw curved lines. Now, you'll see this when we're drawing the Batman logo, where we're doing half a Batman and then turning that around, but here we're going around this cloud. So click and release, click and hold, and pull it out and match it. And what I'm doing here, these clouds are, each knob is bigger than the next one is, and it's a small one. They're just alternating so that it gives the effect of a cloud flying through the sky, and in this case it's going to be a rain cloud and at night. So click and release, and click and hold, and come on around it. Click and release, and then click and hold. And as we go around the end of this cloud, click and release, click and hold. And it's very easy just to go in these inside these little valleys and start and stop. Now I'm getting next to the last one. Now watch, I click on the last anchor point to restart my line, and as I go over here, you see that 0 shows up. That means I'm about to do a line that's closing this line into a shape. And there it is as a shape. And so you've made that work. Now the other shape that we're going to use is this lightning bolt. Now that's a straight line drawing that we've seen that before. Still, you draw with the fill black and the stroke nothing. And take your pen tool and go back to the old ways of just click and release and click and release and click and release and click and release. You're not doing any pulling here. You're just letting the lines go. And you're going back and forth on this pattern that is the lightning bolt. And when you get back to the next to the last one, when you come here, it's a little zero showing that you're now completing the line and making a shape out of it. So now you have the cloud and the shape. There's one other element here that we're going to use, and that's raindrops coming out of the cloud and falling on about where the lightning bolt is hitting the ground. Now, in order to make the rain, the actual rain particles or drops, I'm going to take my rectangular tool up here, and I'm going to make, with a black stroke and no fill, I'm going to make one very long, narrow rectangle. I mean really narrow too. Long and narrow. Okay, now I have one. I'm going to turn that so it's about the same angle as the lightning bolt coming out. Now to do that, go up to the corner and tell you can get three things with this black arrow. You get the arrowhead. If you get up by the corner, you get the little bended arrow. That is the rotate line. And if you get it inside like that, that's the scale tool. If you hold down the shift key, you can move this rectangle and scale it smaller or bigger, and it will go proportionally. If you don't hold the shift key down, then you can just make it mechanical. But I'm going to get that curve line there, and then it rotates from the center, and I'm just going to tilt this until it's about the same angle as the lightning bolt. Okay, now I'm going to pull this thing, and I'm going to say, how long do I actually want to have it? It needs to come out of the clouds, and it needs to end about where the lightning bolt does here. So I can still change this just a little bit more to get it right on the angle, approximately. I mean, the lightning bolt's got its own zigs and zags in it, but approximately there. And then I can get my black arrow and come down here to the bottom of this one raindrop and maybe bring it up a little bit until it's about where the lightning bolt is. I do want it to be in the cloud so it will overlap. All right, now that I've got the one raindrop, bring this over here again and put it on the side. I want to expand and have more than one raindrop. And the way I'm going to do that is it's now on the angle, it's now the length I want it. So I'm going to click on it and hold down the Option key and slide it over. And as I slide it, now comes down, the second key is being pushed down, the Shift key with the second finger, and make the gap just very narrow gap between the first and the second one. Let go of your mouse hand first, and then if you let go of your keys, now you have the first one and you've made the secondary copy or clone. Now hit Command D on the keyboard and hit it again, and get a bunch of strings going across there. That's your raindrop. I'm not sure, I didn't count how many I did, but you can always take them off. Select all of them together with your marquee. Now you have them all there. Let's group them together. Command G. Now, when you take these and put them back in the rain cloud and sort of separate them or have them surround that lightning bolt, then you have all the parts in place now except for the ground, and we'll do that as a rectangle. And there's the cloud, there's the rain, and there's the lightning bolt. Now the coloration of that, over in my swatches, I've already made a light blue to dark blue gradient, and if I pull the gradient bar out, you can see that light blue to dark blue. It starts with white and light blue and medium blue and darker blue and very dark blue. And I have it as a linear and I have it as a radial. I'm going to use the linear in the rain and the radial in the back sky to get that little glow coming off the ends of the lightning bolt. I also have a color here that I pre-made that's for the lightning bolt itself. It's white, it's yellow, it's orange, it's darker orange, it's red, it's darker red, and it's maroon. So I have a good colors going through a hot range for that lightning bolt. Now let's start, I'm going to move this out of the way for just a second. Let's start with the cloud. The cloud is going to be using the gradient that is this white to black. I'm going to select that one, and gradient always comes in left to right, and I have to take my gradient tool here and click on the bottom and drag it towards the top. What I want is a light bottom where the lightning bolt is flashing, and then it's gray, and then it's black as it gets up into the top part of this rain cloud. So I click from here so it's light, click a little bit out of the cloud so that the white is not in the cloud so much, and then just pull it a short ways. This little thermometer sort of shows you where it's going in the direction. I've leaned it just a little bit, and so I have this cloud now. Now it's got a stroke around the end is black, and the fill is the gradient. Now, whether I keep the stroke or not, I probably get rid of most strokes, but I'm going to keep it for a minute, and I'll show you why in a while when we get the blue sky behind it. Now, I'm going to the lightning bolt, and the lightning bolt's going to be this gradient color here, so I select, it's got a black fill or stroke at the moment. The fill is nothing. I select the gradient, and it comes in from left to right again, and so now I take my gradient tool, and the hot spot, or the white, is at the tip. So click at the tip and pull towards the end. Don't go way up into the cloud, but you want this separation of light to orange to that sort of thing. And so, and if you say, well, I don't have enough white at the bottom, try it again. And this time click a little higher than the spot there so that white is going to show up. And let me click away. Okay, now you can see white at the bottom. At this point, I'm going to click on my lightning bolt, and I'm going to take the stroke off, and there's no stroke anymore. And so all you see is the white going up into the red. All right, so I've got my cloud, I've got my lightning bolt. Now the rain. The rain is going to be a gradient, and it's right now it's a stroke. I'm going to take the stroke off, and it's nothing. I'm going to put the fill in and use that gradient in the swatches that was the white to blue. And I'm going to take my gradient tool, and I'm going to click at the bottom of the rain and pull it towards the top. It sort of did that on its own. But I want the white at the bottom, and the middle is light blue, and then there's dark blue at the top. Okay, so I've got that going on for me. I'm going to put the gradient back in its place over here. Well, I'm going to leave it out because there's one more gradient thing to use. Now, another interesting thing about this rain, when I select it, I'm going to put it so it's over the lightning bolt. Something like that. It's coming out of the cloud, but then you can't see the lightning bolt very well. So select the rain. Remember, we grouped it, so every time you select it, it's going to be all one thing. And I'm going to go up to transparency, and you see where transparency, it says opacity 100%. Click on that little arrow, and that slider bar shows up. Now slide it down to maybe, let's go all the way to 50%. Okay, so what happens, I'm going to click away here so you can see, it's transparent now, only 50%, so you can see through it. You can see the rain coming down, but you can see also the lightning that's inside the raindrops. So that's going to work for us. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to take a big blue rectangle, and I get my rectangle bar, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to make a nice rectangle that fits the whole artboard. And I'm going to get this gradient color, the radial gradient, and then you can still see from my dotted lines where the tip of that lightning bolt is. When I open this up, the hot tip comes right in the center. I'm going to take my gradient tool and click right on that tip of that lightning bolt and just pull it just a little bit and let go, and there's the hot tip. Now we need to get that behind everything, so select the blue. Now that is in front because when I just put that in there, whatever you put in the last is on the top of the layer. So 3 keys I'm going to hit to put this all the way to the back. Command key and the shift key and the left bracket. I can do that with one hand. It goes all the way behind. And there you can see, okay, the flare is right there at the tip of the lightning bolt. Now one other piece that I have to put in place, I'm going to use this tan right here that's in the swatches, and I'm going to take a rectangle and I'm going to put it right here at the bottom, and I'm going to line it up here with the raindrops, and then I'll come over here and I'm going to click and drag, and that's my sand. So now what I've got is the rain falling on the sand and the lightning bolts doing its thing. Now the cloud has to come forward because it's got to hide the rain, it's got to hide the top of the lightning bolt, so command shift right bracket brings it all the way forward. And so now you have the situation of the cloud and the rain and the lightning bolt. Disregard those guidelines because that's not going to print. That's going to go away. That's just there to help you draw it. You might say to the cloud, you know, it's got a little too much white on the bottom, so I'm going to try that again. When I click on it, I'm back to that gradient, the linear gray, white to black. And so I'll come here with my gradient tool and try clicking a little further out of the cloud so it's not quite so white, and then it glows into it. And I might do that 2 or 3 times until I get what I think ought to be doing here with the rain cloud. I want to be dark at the top and I want to be somewhat light at the bottom. That's a little better. Now, there's a reason. Remember what I said, I have a black stroke around this cloud. Now I'm going to take the stroke and over here in the color, it's 100% black. I'm going to pull this down to a low gray and leave that low gray stroke on. You see what happens is it helps define the difference between the cloud and the blue sky in the background. So there's a reason why I would have a stroke on this cloud. I don't have a stroke on the raindrops nor on the lightning bolt, but on that. So there is the finish of the Desert Storm. Let's go back to the real one, and that's what it looks like with without the guidelines and everything's gone. There's the cloud, there's this lightning bolt, there's the rain flash, the rain coming down and the flash happening, and that ends up as a simple illustration, kind of a poster, book cover, whatever, for this Desert Storm. We have pre-made the gradients, and we talked about gradients before, but this is how you do it. This is multiple colors, and I have the blue going is a radial for the flash, and for the linear for the rain coming out of the clouds. So when we get all through with that, I put it back in its place so all my color is together, and there we have Desert Storm.